As I sifted through the dusty pages of my great-grandfather's journal, I stumbled upon an entry dated September 14, 1937. The tattered parchment seemed to whisper tales of a bygone era. Among the fading ink and the scribbled notes, one story stood out, a tale that had been passed down through generations in my family. It was an unusually warm evening when my great-grandfather, Samuel, ventured to the long-forgotten town of Ravenswood, nestled deep in the woods of Pennsylvania. The town itself had faded into obscurity, but the carnival that once thrived there had left an indelible mark on his memory. Ravenswood's carnival was legendary, and not just for its vibrant rides and colorful tents. It was said that every year, on the night of September 14th, a mysterious clown would emerge from the shadows, its grotesque appearance and eerie laughter sending shivers down the spines of anyone who dared to stay. Samuel and his friends, fueled by youthful curiosity, embarked on a perilous journey to the abandoned carnival grounds that very night. Armed with flashlights and a mixture of bravery and trepidation, they ventured into the eerie silence of the carnival. As they roamed the desolate fairgrounds, Samuel recalled how the moon cast an eerie glow on the rusted Ferris wheel. It was then that they heard it, a chilling laughter that seemed to echo from all directions. They followed the sound, their hearts pounding in their chests. In the heart of the carnival, they encountered the clown, a ghastly figure with a cracked porcelain mask, its eyes filled with malice. Its laughter, both mocking and malevolent, froze them in their tracks. I couldn't help but feel a shiver as I read these words. The journal spoke of their harrowing escape, the clown's relentless pursuit, and the inexplicable disappearances that plagued Ravenswood in the years that followed. As I closed the journal, my own curiosity was piqued. Could the abandoned carnival still exist, hidden deep within the woods? And did the malevolent clown continue to haunt those who ventured too close on September 14th? With the old journal in hand, I made a decision. I would follow in my great-grandfather's footsteps and journey to Ravenswood on the fateful night. The chilling laughter of the clown still echoed in my mind, and the mysteries of the past beckoned me to uncover the truth. The weeks leading up to September 14th were filled with anticipation and trepidation. I researched Ravenswood, trying to gather any information I could about its past and the carnival that had once thrived there. Old newspaper clippings and faded photographs hinted at a town that had fallen into disrepair, its history overshadowed by the eerie legends of the carnival. As the fateful night approached, I packed my bags with the essentials, a flashlight, a journal, and a sense of determination that mirrored my great-grandfather's. I couldn't help but wonder what I would find in the abandoned carnival, whether the clown still lurked in the shadows, waiting for the curious souls who dared to venture near. The journey to Ravenswood was a winding one, taking me deep into the dense woods. The air grew colder as I approached the town, and the full moon cast an eerie glow over the landscape. It was as if the very atmosphere was preparing me for the otherworldly encounter I was seeking. Upon arriving at the town, I found it to be eerily quiet, the remnants of a once thriving community. The rusting skeletons of carnival rides loomed in the moonlight, their twisted metal a testament to the passage of time. It was clear that Ravenswood's carnival had not seen life in decades. With cautious steps, I ventured into the carnival grounds, my flashlight cutting through the darkness. The air was thick with an uncanny silence, broken only by the distant hooting of an owl. My great-grandfather's journal had provided me with a vague sense of direction, but the abandoned carnival seemed like a labyrinth of forgotten dreams. Then, it happened, the laughter. It began as a faint, haunting echo, like a distant memory. My heart raced as I followed the sound, just as my great-grandfather had done all those years ago. In the heart of the carnival, I saw it, the clown. Its cracked porcelain mask reflected the moonlight, and its eyes gleamed with a malevolence that sent shivers down my spine. The same laughter, mocking and eerie, filled the air. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. I could feel the weight of the past pressing upon me, the stories of my ancestors converging in this moment. But I was not frozen by fear. Instead, I was driven by a determination to confront the mysteries of Ravenswood and the malevolent clown that had haunted my family for generations. With trembling hands, I reached for my journal, ready to document the encounter just as my great-grandfather had. The clown's laughter grew louder, and its presence felt palpable, like a shadowy force from another world. As I prepared to face the clown, I couldn't help but wonder if I would uncover the truth behind this sinister legend, or if the mysteries of Ravenswood would continue to elude me, shrouded in darkness and laughter that echoed through time. Story 2. The year was 1965, and Elm Street was a picture of suburban tranquility. Children played in the yards, and neighbors chatted over white picket fences. But there was one house that sent shivers down the spines of all who passed by, the home of Mr. and Mrs. Thompson. Mr. Thompson, an enigmatic figure with a penchant for eccentricity, had long been a source of intrigue in the neighborhood. But it was the arrival of a new resident, a clown by the name of Jasper, that would send Elm Street spiraling into a living nightmare. Jasper was not your typical birthday party clown. His makeup was garish, and his oversized shoes left muddy prints on the pristine sidewalks. He had a habit of appearing in the dead of night, peering through the windows of unsuspecting neighbors with a sinister grin on his painted face. Rumors swirled like a gathering storm. Some said Jasper had once been a successful circus clown, but he'd fallen from grace and now sought solace in the suburban quiet of Elm Street. Others claimed he was something more sinister, a creature who fed on the fear of the neighborhood children. One fateful night, as the moon cast eerie shadows over Elm Street, young Tommy Johnson heard a tapping at his bedroom window. He pulled back the curtains and froze in terror. There, illuminated by the dim glow of the streetlight, was Jasper the clown, his white face contorted into a grotesque smile. Tommy's scream pierced the night, waking the entire neighborhood. As neighbors rushed to the Johnson house, they found Tommy trembling in his bed, tears streaming down his face. The police were called, but by the time they arrived, Jasper had disappeared into the darkness, leaving nothing but muddy footprints and a trail of nightmares. The Elm Street Clown, as Jasper came to be known, continued to terrorize the neighborhood for years. Some claimed to have seen him vanish into thin air, while others whispered of his ability to shapeshift into the form of a child's worst nightmare. The legend of the Elm Street Clown has haunted Elm Street for generations, a chilling reminder that even the most idyllic neighborhoods can hide unimaginable horrors. To this day, residents of Elm Street still speak in hushed tones of the creepy clown who lived next door, and the nightmares he left in his wake. As the years passed, the legend of the Elm Street Clown became deeply entrenched in the neighborhood's collective memory. Parents warned their children not to wander near the Thompson house after dark, and the white picket fence surrounding the property became a symbolic barrier between the ordinary world and the chilling unknown. Reports of Jasper's sightings continued to surface sporadically. Each time, the neighborhood would be thrown into a frenzy of fear and speculation. Some claimed to have seen him lurking in the shadows of Elm Street, while others insisted he had been responsible for mysterious disappearances that were never officially solved. One summer evening in 1978, during a neighborhood block party, the subject of the Elm Street Clown was broached once again. Amidst laughter and the clinking of glasses, a group of friends began to swap stories of their own eerie encounters with the clown. It was then that a stranger joined the conversation, his eyes gleaming with an unsettling familiarity. The man introduced himself as Edward Grayson, a new resident who had recently moved into the neighborhood. His arrival had gone largely unnoticed due to the ongoing fear of the clown. However, Edward had a story to share, a story that sent shivers down the spines of everyone present. He recounted a chilling tale from his own childhood, a tale of a clown named Jasper who had once lived next door to his family. The similarities were uncanny, and Edward's description of the clown's eerie behavior and malevolent presence matched the Elm Street clown legend in every detail. As Edward spoke, he revealed that his family had moved far away to escape the nightmare of Elm Street, leaving their haunted past behind. But the nightmares persisted, and the memories of Jasper the clown haunted their dreams, no matter how far they have run. With a sinking feeling, the neighbors realized that Jasper might not be confined to Elm Street alone. He might have moved on, taking his reign of terror to other unsuspecting communities, leaving behind a trail of fear and sleepless nights. The legend of the Elm Street clown remained unresolved, a dark chapter in the history of a once peaceful neighborhood. The mysterious figure, whether real or imagined, had left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of Elm Street's residents. To this day, the story of the creepy clown who lived next door serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that evil can sometimes hide behind the most ordinary facades, and that the line between reality and nightmare is often disturbingly thin. Story 3. In the heart of New Orleans, where the Mississippi River weaved its serpentine path through the city, there stood an old, forgotten carnival known as Le Cirque du Maléfique. The year was 1923, and the vibrant streets of the French Quarter buzzed with life, but within the carnival's gates, a chilling legend unfolded. The carnival had been a thriving spectacle in the late 1800s, drawing crowds with its exotic acts, dazzling performers, and a sinister clown named Marcel Guignol. Marcel was no ordinary clown. He was rumored to have made a pact with the devil himself, granting him unnatural powers that defied explanation. It was said that every night, as the moon hung low in the sky, Marcel would take to the stage, his grotesque makeup and sinister grin striking fear into the hearts of those who dared to watch. His performances were both mesmerizing and horrifying, leaving audiences in a state of unnerving fascination. As the legend goes, on a fateful night in October 1889, a young woman named Isabella ventured into the carnival, her curiosity piqued by the tales of Marcel's malevolence. She was an adventurous spirit, unafraid of the unknown. Little did she know that her encounter with the clown would change her life forever. Isabella watched in awe and terror as Marcel performed his macabre tricks, his laughter echoing in the darkness. Mesmerized by his presence, she approached him after the show, drawn to the enigmatic clown like a moth to a flame. Marcel, with his hypnotic gaze, offered Isabella a deal. She would become his apprentice, learning the dark arts of illusion and magic, but in return, she would have to sacrifice her soul. Isabella, seduced by the allure of power and intrigued by the forbidden, accepted Marcel's offer. As the years passed, her own performances at the carnival grew increasingly twisted and sinister. She became known as the Dark Enchantress of Le Cirque du Maléfique, and her reputation spread far and wide. But with power came a terrible price. Isabella's soul withered away, and she became a shell of her former self. She was bound to the carnival and the malevolent clown who had ensnared her, forced to perform for all eternity in a never-ending cycle of darkness. As time passed, the carnival fell into disrepair, its glory fading like a distant memory. But the legend of Marcel Guignol and the cursed carnival lived on, passed down through generations in hushed whispers. To this day, the eerie remnants of Le Cirque du Maléfique are said to haunt the outskirts of New Orleans. Locals warn against venturing too close, for they believed that the malevolent clown and the dark enchantress still roam the grounds, their presence a chilling reminder of the price one can pay for curiosity and the allure of the unknown. As the years passed, the legend of Marcel Guignol and Le Cirque de Maléfique continued to cast a shadow over New Orleans. Tourists and thrill-seekers were drawn to the city, and tales of the cursed carnival spread like wildfire. Many dismissed the stories as mere folklore, but those who had grown up in the city knew better. In 1955, a group of college students decided to investigate the legend for themselves. They were a diverse bunch, each with their own reasons for wanting to uncover the truth behind the cursed carnival. The group included Michael, a history major with a fascination for the supernatural, Sarah, a budding journalist looking for a career-making story, and Alex, a thrill-seeker with a deep-seated belief in the paranormal. On a moonlit October night, the three friends embarked on their journey to find the remnants of Le Cirque de Maléfique. Armed with old maps, local legends, and a sense of trepidation, they ventured into the outskirts of the city, where the carnival was rumored to have once stood. Their quest led them through tangled bayous, overgrown swamps, and eerie cypress groves. The air was thick with the scent of moss and decay, and the only sound was the chirping of crickets and the distant croak of bullfrogs. It was an atmosphere thick with foreboding. After hours of searching, they stumbled upon the remnants of an old, overgrown carnival ground. The rusted frames of long-forgotten rides and the decaying remains of ticket booths stood as haunting relics of a bygone era. It was clear that this was the place they sought, the cursed carnival of legend. As they cautiously made their way deeper into the ruins, the moon cast eerie shadows on the cracked pavement. The group began to feel a sense of unease, as if they were being watched. The legend was coming to life before their very eyes. Suddenly, they heard it, the haunting sound of a distant calliope, its melancholy melody echoing through the night. It was a tune that sent shivers down their spines, a tune that belonged to another time. As they followed the eerie music, they came upon a tattered and weather-worn tent. Inside, they found an old poster that sent a chill down their spines. It depicted Marcel Guignol and the dark enchantress, their malevolent smiles frozen in time. In the darkness, a sinister laughter began to echo around them, and the shadows seemed to come to life. The students realized they were not alone. The malevolent clown and the dark enchantress had awakened from their eternal slumber. The events that unfolded that night remained a mystery. The student's disappearance was never explained, and the legend of Le Cirque de Maléfique grew even more ominous. Locals speak of the eerie music that still haunts the bayou on moonlit nights, a reminder that some legends are best left undisturbed, for curiosity can lead to a fate far worse than they could have imagined. Story 4. Barnaby was a striking figure with his grotesque makeup and twisted sense of humor. He was notorious for his merciless pranks and sinister laughter that sent chills down the spines of those who witnessed it. The townsfolk quickly grew fearful of him, and it wasn't long before they hatched a plan to rid themselves of the menacing clown. One fateful night, a mob of angry townspeople confronted Barnaby in his darkened circus tent. Accusations flew, and a violent altercation ensued. In the chaos that followed, Barnaby met his end, his life snuffed out by the very hands of those he had tormented. As the legend goes, before taking his last breath, Barnaby cursed Harrowsville and vowed to return from beyond the grave to exact his revenge. The townspeople dismissed the curse as mere superstition, but it wasn't long before they realized that Barnaby's laughter still echoed through their nightmares. Over the years, strange occurrences plagued Harrowsville. Residents claimed to have seen the ghostly figure of Barnaby lurking in the shadows, his sinister laughter haunting the darkest corners of their dreams. The once thriving town fell into a state of perpetual dread, and its decline seemed inexorable. In 1978, a group of paranormal investigators arrived in Harrowsville, drawn by the town's dark reputation. Among them was Dr. Amelia Wallace, a renowned expert in the occult and the unexplained. Amelia had heard tales of the Midnight Circus and was determined to uncover the truth behind the curse that had plagued Harrowsville for generations. As Amelia delved deeper into the town's history, she unearthed old newspaper clippings and faded photographs, each one adding another layer to the mystery. It became clear that Barnaby's curse had not been idle. It had slowly drained the life from Harrowsville, like a malevolent force that refused to be forgotten. One moonlit night, as Amelia and her team explored the overgrown remnants of the circus grounds, they heard it, the chilling laughter of Barnaby the Grim Grimaldi. It echoed through the night, sending shivers down their spines. Amelia knew that they had awakened something ancient and malevolent. With a sense of determination, she delved deeper into the circus tent, her flashlight illuminating the tattered remains of a poster featuring Barnaby's sinister face. It was then that they felt a cold, spectral presence surround them, and the very air seemed to thicken with malice. Barnaby's ghostly form materialized before them, his grotesque makeup frozen in an eternal grin. With an otherworldly laugh that echoed through time, Barnaby declared that his revenge had begun. The investigators could feel the darkness closing in around them, and they knew they were in a battle against a vengeful spirit that had waited over a century to wreak havoc on Harrowsville. The legend of Barnaby the Grim Grimaldi continues to haunt the town to this day, a chilling reminder that curses, once unleashed, can endure for generations. Harrowsville's residents live in perpetual fear, listening for the haunting laughter that signals Barnaby's return from beyond the grave and the relentless pursuit of his long-awaited revenge. As the cursed laughter of Barnaby the Grim Grimaldi echoed through the town of Harrowsville, Dr. Amelia Wallace and her team found themselves in the heart of a supernatural maelstrom. The malevolent clown's ghostly form seemed to be everywhere at once, taunting them with his relentless presence. Desperate to uncover the truth behind the curse and put an end to Barnaby's reign of terror, Amelia delved into the history of the Midnight Circus. She discovered that the circus had been more than just a source of fear and suffering. It had been a place of dark rituals and unholy pacts. The circus's founder, a mysterious figure named Ezekiel Blackwood, had been rumored to have dabbled in the occult, seeking power and immortality. It was believed that he had made a pact with demonic forces, and Barnaby Grimaldi had been the unwitting vessel through which these dark forces sought to claim their due. With this newfound knowledge, Amelia and her team embarked on a perilous journey to unravel the curse's origins and find a way to banish Barnaby's vengeful spirit. They pored over ancient texts and consulted with experts in the arcane, desperate for a solution that could break the curse that had plagued Harrowsville for so long. Their research led them to a long-forgotten burial site deep in the woods where Ezekiel Blackwood had been laid to rest. It was here that they hoped to find the key to defeating Barnaby and ending the curse once and for all. As they approached the decrepit grave, a sense of foreboding hung heavy in the air. The moon cast an eerie glow over the tombstone, and the wind whispered through the trees as if carrying the secrets of centuries past. With trembling hands, Amelia and her team began to unearth the coffin, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. Within the coffin, they discovered a leather-bound grimoire, its pages filled with incantations and symbols of unspeakable power. It was Ezekiel Blackwood's book of dark magic, the source of his unholy abilities. With the grimoire in their possession, they hoped to use its ancient knowledge to confront Barnaby's spirit. Returning to the ruins of the Midnight Circus, they performed a ritual to summon Barnaby. The malevolent clown appeared, his spectral form contorted in rage. But this time, they were prepared. Amelia, holding the grimoire, recited incantations from the book, binding Barnaby's spirit and forcing him to confront the dark forces that had given him his power. The battle that followed between the vengeful clown and the ancient evil that had controlled him was a terrifying spectacle of otherworldly proportions. In the end, Barnaby's spirit was consumed by the very forces he had once served. With a final, haunting wail, he vanished into the ether, leaving behind an eerie silence that settled over Harrowsville. The curse was broken, and the town was finally free from the malevolent clown's reign of terror. Dr. Amelia Wallace and her team had succeeded in banishing the darkness that had haunted Harrowsville for generations. Today, the legend of Barnaby the Grim Grimaldi lives on as a cautionary tale, a reminder that some curses are too powerful to be ignored and that the pursuit of forbidden knowledge can have consequences that echo through time. Harrowsville may have found its peace, but the memory of Barnaby's laughter still lingers, a chilling reminder of the horrors that once plagued the town. Story 5. Ethan had always been a creative and imaginative child. He had a vivid imagination that brought his toys to life and filled his world with fantastical creatures. But when he turned 6 years old, something changed. He began talking about a new friend, one that sent shivers down the spines of his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Carter. Ethan's new friend was no ordinary playmate. He called him Mr. Chuckles, a clown with wild, unruly hair and a sinister grin. Ethan claimed that Mr. Chuckles lived in the closet of his bedroom and would come out to play with him every night. At first, Ethan's parents dismissed it as a typical childhood imaginary friend, but as the days turned into weeks, their concern grew. Ethan's behavior began to change. He became withdrawn and had trouble sleeping, often waking up in the middle of the night, terrified and crying. Mrs. Carter decided to investigate her son's claims and peeked into the closet one evening. To her astonishment, she saw nothing unusual. Just a clutter of old toys, clothes, and darkness. She breathed a sigh of relief, thinking it was all in Ethan's imagination. But the terror in her son's eyes was all too real. Ethan's nightmares escalated. He described vivid scenes of Mr. Chuckles beckoning him into the closet, where a nightmarish carnival awaited. He spoke of grotesque clowns, haunted carousels, and a malevolent circus ringmaster who seemed to control his every move. Desperate for answers, the Carters consulted with a child psychologist, Dr. Laura Morrison. Dr. Morrison listened carefully to Ethan's stories and began to suspect that there was more to Mr. Chuckles than met the eye. She delved into the history of Willowbrook and uncovered a chilling connection. In the early 1900s, a traveling circus had passed through Willowbrook, leaving a trail of eerie tales in its wake. Among its performers was a clown named Chuckles, known for his sinister pranks and cruel sense of humor. Legend had it that Chuckles had vanished under mysterious circumstances, and some believed he had been cursed by an angry fortune teller from the carnival. As Dr. Morrison continued her investigation, she stumbled upon an old carnival poster featuring Chuckles the Clown. The resemblance between the clown on the poster and Ethan's description of Mr. Chuckles was uncanny. Realizing that Ethan might be unknowingly channeling the spirit of the long-lost Chuckles the Clown, Dr. Morrison decided to confront the malevolent presence. Armed with a knowledge of the occult and a determination to save Ethan, she performed a ritual to communicate with the spirit. The ritual was fraught with danger, as it allowed Chuckles to materialize in the physical world. In the dimly lit room, a figure with wild hair and a sinister grin slowly took form. It was Mr. Chuckles. With a voice filled with anguish, Chuckles revealed the truth. He had been trapped in the closet for decades, tormented by the curse placed upon him. He had sought solace in the company of young children, yearning for the innocence he had lost. Dr. Morrison negotiated with the vengeful spirit, promising to help lift the curse in exchange for his departure from Ethan's life. Chuckles agreed, and with a final, haunting laugh, he vanished into the closet, never to be seen again. Ethan's nightmares ceased, and his cheerful demeanor returned. The Carters moved on from Willowbrook, leaving behind the memories of the sinister imaginary friend that had haunted their son. But the legend of Mr. Chuckles lives on in Willowbrook, a cautionary tale for parents and a reminder that even the most innocent childhood fantasies can take a terrifying twist when darkness lurks in the shadows. Years passed, and Willowbrook gradually moved on from the unsettling tale of Mr. Chuckles. The Carters settled into a new life in a different town, determined to leave behind the horrors of their past. Ethan grew into a well-adjusted teenager, his childhood trauma slowly fading into distant memory. But the legacy of Mr. Chuckles had not been entirely erased. In the annals of Willowbrook's history, the tale of the sinister clown in the closet became a local legend, shared around campfires and whispered in hushed tones. In 1995, a new family moved into the Carters' old house on Maple Street, unaware of its dark history. The parents, Mark and Lisa Thompson, had 2 young children, a boy named Josh and a girl named Emily. The children were initially thrilled with their new home, but it wasn't long before strange occurrences began to unsettle them. Late one night, as Emily lay in her bed, she heard faint whispers coming from the closet. She sat up, her heart pounding, and peered into the darkness. To her horror, she saw a pair of glowing, malevolent eyes staring back at her from the depths of the closet. Emily screamed, and her parents rushed to her room. Mark and Lisa found nothing amiss in the closet, dismissing Emily's claims as childhood nightmares. But Emily knew what she had seen, and the sinister presence in the closet continued to torment her. Josh, too, had his own encounters with the malevolent spirit. He described vivid dreams of a twisted carnival, complete with eerie clowns and haunted rides. He insisted that the nightmares were real, that he had been to the cursed carnival that his sister had seen. Terrified for their children, Mark and Lisa sought the help of a local paranormal investigator, a woman named Sandra Reynolds. Sandra had heard the legend of Mr. Chuckles and suspected that the malevolent spirit had returned to the Carters' old home. As she delved into the house's history, Sandra uncovered the eerie connection to the cursed clown. She realized that the spirit of Mr. Chuckles had not been banished but had remained dormant, waiting for new children to torment. With her knowledge of the occult and the assistance of a medium, Sandra embarked on a mission to communicate with the vengeful spirit. In a chilling seance, they made contact with Mr. Chuckles, who revealed that he had never truly left the closet. Sandra negotiated with the spirit, just as Dr. Morrison had done years before, promising to help lift the curse once and for all. Mr. Chuckles, wearied from years of torment, agreed to leave the house and release the children from his sinister influence. With a final, haunting laugh, Mr. Chuckles dissipated into the ether, his malevolent presence vanishing from the old house on Maple Street. Emily and Josh's nightmares ceased, and the Thompson family finally found peace in their new home. The legacy of Mr. Chuckles continued to be shared in Willowbrook, a chilling reminder that some spirits cannot be banished so easily and that curses can endure, reaching across generations to torment the innocent. The town had learned that even in the face of the supernatural, courage and determination could bring an end to the darkest of nightmares. Story 6. In the early 1900s, nestled deep within the rolling hills of West Virginia, there stood a traveling circus known as the Carnival of Shadows. This eerie spectacle rolled into the small town of Blackwood every year on the same date, October 13th. Its arrival brought with it a palpable sense of dread that hung in the air like an ominous cloud. At the heart of the Carnival of Shadows was a figure that struck terror into the hearts of both young and old, a clown named Barnabas Grimshaw. With his grotesque makeup and a sinister grin that seemed etched onto his face, Barnabas was a chilling presence that haunted the dreams of those who witnessed his performances. Blackwood's townspeople knew little about the carnival's origins, and it was whispered that it appeared from thin air on that fateful date, as if summoned by some dark force. But it was Barnabas Grimshaw who captured their attention and fear. The legend spoke of Barnabas's sinister tricks and the malevolent laughter that echoed through the night as the carnival tents came to life. It was said that anyone who dared to attend the Carnival of Shadows would disappear without a trace, never to be seen again. One autumn evening in 1913, a young woman named Eleanor ventured to the outskirts of Blackwood to witness the spectacle for herself. She was both fascinated and frightened by the tales of Barnabas Grimshaw, and curiosity got the better of her. As Eleanor approached the carnival grounds, she felt an eerie sensation, as though unseen eyes were watching her every move. The moon cast long shadows that danced among the darkened tents, and the air was thick with an unsettling stillness. Eleanor watched in awe and trepidation as the carnival's performances began. Barnabas Grimshaw took center stage, his presence commanding the attention of all who had gathered. His laughter, a haunting melody that sent shivers down the spine, filled the night air. Unable to resist the sinister allure of the carnival, Eleanor approached the clown after the show. She was drawn to him even as fear gripped her heart. With a hypnotic gaze, Barnabas offered her a deal. She could join the Carnival of Shadows and become part of its dark world, but in return, she would have to surrender her very soul. Eleanor, seduced by the promise of the forbidden and the allure of power, accepted Barnabas's offer. She became known as Eleanor the Enchantress, her own performances growing increasingly twisted and macabre. She reveled in the darkness that consumed her, her laughter merging with Barnabas's malevolent chuckles. But with power came a terrible price. Eleanor's soul withered away, and she became trapped in the cursed Carnival of Shadows, forced to perform for all eternity in a never-ending cycle of darkness. As the years passed, the carnival faded into obscurity, its legend buried deep within the annals of history. But the sinister presence of Barnabas Grimshaw and Eleanor the Enchantress lingered, a chilling reminder of the price one could pay for curiosity and the allure of the unknown. To this day, the tale of the Carnival of Shadows is shared in hushed whispers in the town of Blackwood, a haunting reminder that some secrets are better left buried, and that the line between reality and nightmare is often disturbingly thin. As the decades passed, the legend of the Carnival of Shadows became a distant memory in the town of Blackwood. The once ominous carnival grounds fell into disrepair, their eerie allure fading with time. The townspeople grew old, and the younger generations regarded the tales of Barnabas Grimshaw and Eleanor the Enchantress as mere folklore. But the cursed carnival and its malevolent clowns were not so easily forgotten. In 1967, a group of college students from Blackwood University decided to embark on a research project that would uncover the truth behind the town's chilling legend. Among them was Sarah, an aspiring journalist with a fascination for the macabre, David, a history major seeking to unearth forgotten secrets, and Lily, a psychology student intrigued by the power of collective fear. The group of friends began by poring over old newspapers, dusty archives, and weathered journals. They collected eyewitness accounts and interviewed elderly residents who still remembered the eerie carnival. As they delved deeper into the legend, they discovered that the carnival's last appearance in Blackwood had been on October 13, 1939. Driven by a desire to unearth the carnival's whereabouts, the students decided to visit the site where the Carnival of Shadows had once stood. What they found was a desolate field, overgrown with weeds and shrouded in an eerie silence. The remnants of a long-forgotten circus tent lay buried beneath the underbrush. With cautious steps, they ventured further into the abandoned carnival grounds. The air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to come alive as they explored the decaying ticket booths and rusted remnants of carnival rides. The sense of foreboding deepened with every step. Then, it happened, the laughter. It began as a faint, haunting echo, like a distant memory. The students froze, their hearts racing, as they followed the sound to the heart of the carnival grounds. There, beneath the tattered remnants of a circus tent, they saw them, Barnabas Grimshaw and Eleanor the Enchantress. The malevolent clowns, their grotesque makeup and sinister grins intact, beckoned the students to join their cursed carnival. Their laughter, mocking and eerie, filled the air. The students were caught in a chilling trance, unable to resist the sinister allure of the Carnival of Shadows. But David, the history major, had a plan. He had come prepared with an ancient tome he had discovered in his research, a book of forgotten incantations that had the power to break the curse that bound the carnival and its malevolent inhabitants. With trembling hands, David recited the incantations, calling upon the forces of light to banish the darkness that had plagued Blackwood for so long. The students' trance was broken, and the sinister clown's laughter turned to anguished wails. Barnabas Grimshaw and Eleanor the Enchantress were consumed by a blinding light, their malevolent spirits banished from the world of the living. The cursed carnival grounds crumbled to dust, disappearing into the annals of history. The legend of the Carnival of Shadows lived on as a cautionary tale, a reminder that some secrets are best left undisturbed and that the allure of the unknown can lead to a fate worse than nightmares. The town of Blackwood had finally been freed from the chilling grip of its haunted past, but the memory of Barnabas Grimshaw and Eleanor the Enchantress would forever haunt its collective memory. Story 7. In the early 1950s, nestled in the heart of the American Midwest, there existed a once thriving circus known as Clown Alley. This circus, renowned for its clown acts and dazzling performances, had been the source of joy and wonder for generations of spectators. But as the years passed, a dark shadow fell upon the circus, and its laughter turned to chilling echoes. Clown Alley's star performer was a clown named Augustus Grimble. With his garish makeup and oversized shoes, Augustus was the life of the circus, bringing smiles to the faces of children and adults alike. His laughter, once joyful and infectious, became something altogether different. The legend spoke of a tragic accident during one of Clown Alley's performances. In 1953, during a high-wire act, Augustus Grimble fell to his death in front of a horrified audience. The circus was never the same after that day. The laughter of the clowns grew haunting, their performances filled with an eerie, otherworldly quality. Rumors spread like wildfire among the circus performers. They claimed that Augustus Grimble's spirit had never truly left Clown Alley. Instead, his ghostly presence seemed to linger, haunting the circus's every corner. In 1965, a traveling carnival that featured a sideshow act known as the Cursed Clown arrived in town. The carnival's main attraction was a clown that bore an uncanny resemblance to Augustus Grimble. The townspeople whispered that the Cursed Clown was the ghost of Augustus himself, returned to exact vengeance for his untimely death. Among the intrigued spectators was a young woman named Amelia, who had grown up hearing tales of Clown Alley's haunting laughter. She was determined to uncover the truth behind the legend and approached the Cursed Clown after the sideshow act. Amelia, drawn to the eerie familiarity of the clown's face, began to ask questions. She learned that the cursed clown had no memory of his past, as if his previous life had been wiped away. But his laughter, when provoked, took on an unsettling quality that sent shivers down Amelia's spine. Driven by a desire to unravel the mystery, Amelia delved into the history of Clown Alley. She uncovered newspaper clippings and archived interviews that hinted at a dark secret. Augustus Grimble had been rumored to possess an old diary, one that contained incantations and spells related to the circus's clown acts. Amelia's pursuit of the diary led her to a dilapidated trailer in the heart of the carnival. There, hidden among old costumes and forgotten props, she discovered the diary of Augustus Grimble. Its pages contained cryptic incantations and references to a sinister pact made with a malevolent entity. Amelia realized that the diary held the key to understanding the curse that had befallen Clown Alley. She sought the assistance of a local historian, Dr. Benjamin Hawkins, who was well versed in the occult. Together, they deciphered the incantations and pieced together the truth. It was revealed that Augustus Grimble, in a desperate bid for eternal fame and laughter, had made a pact with a dark entity that promised him boundless joy and mirth. But in return, the entity had demanded the souls of those who witnessed Clown Alley's performances. With this knowledge, Amelia and Dr. Hawkins devised a plan to break the curse that had plagued Clown Alley for decades. They performed a ritual that would sever the connection between the dark entity and the circus, freeing the souls it had trapped. As the ritual unfolded, a powerful force surged through the circus grounds. The cursed clown, bearing the essence of Augustus Grimble, stood at the center, his laughter shifting from eerie to anguished. The malevolent entity fought to maintain its hold, but it was no match for the determination of Amelia and Dr. Hawkins. With a blinding burst of light, the curse was broken. The dark entity was banished, and the souls of the trapped circus performers were finally released. The haunting laughter that had plagued Clown Alley for decades faded into the distance. Clown Alley, once shrouded in darkness, was reborn. Its laughter, no longer tinged with malevolence, became a source of joy and wonder once more. The legend of Augustus Grimble and the cursed clown served as a cautionary tale, a reminder that the pursuit of fame and fortune could come at a chilling cost. Amelia's courage and determination had unraveled the mystery of Clown Alley and brought an end to its haunted past, but the memory of the haunting laughter of the circus would forever linger in the hearts of those who had witnessed its chilling echoes years past, and the once cursed Clown Alley thrived anew, its performances drawing audiences from far and wide. The circus regained its reputation for joy and wonder, as laughter once again echoed beneath the big top. The legend of Augustus Grimble and the cursed clown became a distant memory, passed down through generations as a cautionary tale. Amelia, now renowned as a scholar of the supernatural, continued her research into the occult. She had discovered the importance of preserving the balance between light and darkness, and her life's work focused on unraveling mysteries that could bring harm to the innocent. In 1978, Amelia received a letter from a small, remote town in Vermont. The letter spoke of strange occurrences that had plagued the town for decades, and eerie laughter that echoed through the woods every night, sending chills down the spines of those who heard it. The townspeople believed it to be the laughter of a malevolent spirit, and they sought Amelia's expertise to uncover the truth. Intrigued by the letter and sensing a connection to her past, Amelia traveled to the Vermont town. There, she encountered a community living in fear, their lives overshadowed by the haunting laughter that had plagued them for generations. They referred to it as the Laughing Ghost. Amelia's investigation led her deep into the surrounding forest, where the laughter was said to originate. She soon discovered an abandoned circus tent, overgrown with vines and shrouded in an eerie silence. It was a chilling reminder of Clown Alley. Within the tent, Amelia found an old diary hidden among the debris. Its pages contained cryptic writings and references to Augustus Grimble's dark pact with a malevolent entity. The diary hinted that the laughing ghost was, in fact, the restless spirit of Augustus himself, still bound by the curse that had ensnared him decades ago. Amelia realized that the laughter of the laughing ghost was a cry for release, a desperate plea to break free from the malevolent entity's grip. Determined to help the spirit find peace, she sought to replicate the ritual that had freed Clown Alley from its curse. With the assistance of the townspeople and her knowledge of the occult, Amelia performed the ritual within the old circus tent. The air grew charged with energy, and the laughter of the laughing ghost intensified, a mixture of anguish and hope. As the ritual reached its climax, a blinding burst of light filled the tent, and the malevolent entity's hold on Augustus Grimble was shattered. The laughing ghost's laughter turned from haunting to joyous as it ascended into the afterlife, finally freed from its torment. The town of Vermont was forever changed. The eerie laughter that had haunted the woods for generations was silenced, and a sense of peace settled over the community. The legend of Augustus Grimble and the laughing ghost became a tale of redemption, a reminder that even in the darkest of curses, there could be hope for release. Amelia continued her work, knowing that there were countless mysteries yet to be unraveled, and that the pursuit of knowledge could bring both danger and redemption. The haunting laughter of Clown Alley had been silenced, but the echoes of its chilling past would forever resonate as a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit.